on Tuesday, you had another talk here. After you finished your talk, there were many people who came and thanked me for bringing this great speaker. There were very few, however, 2%, we have to be honest. 2% of the audience that came and said to me, Father, the speaker that you invited to us, was a myth maker, and that specific person added, I don't believe that he was seeing demons. All these were hallucinations or even images of his fantasy. How do you respond to this man, and how do you convince him that what you experienced was real?
I think you cannot convince such people. It's not possible. I just can say I cannot lie in the name of Jesus Christ. It's not possible for me because I have suffered enough. I don't want to go back in a place where I suffered. So if I lie, I'm falling out again. So to convince such people,
let me ask you something.
Invite him, maybe stay with me and look at me, learn, get to know me better. Maybe then you see if I'm true or not, yes?
Let me ask you, when you had this vision of demons, yes, did you had any side effects, let's say, on you? So
I said it before.
I didn't hear it.
Yes.
Okay.
I know you don't listen. I was a teacher. I was a teacher, yes. Don't forget. Please, yes, please. I said I saw them physically, and it was physically. Well, how do you imagine that? Can you give you a description how that was? So, actually, it was no imagination, guarantee not. Because I was very, very conscious, because the more you become consciousness, the more you know and see clearly these things. Imagine, how was Christ after the resurrection? When he said, he was going through the walls, through the closed doors he came in. How is it possible? See that? You can imagine how that was. How was Christ that said, give me fish, give me meat, I'll eat it. But when you want to touch him, you go through him somehow. So how was this Christ? It's a mystery for us, isn't it? But we can discover it. And it is something similar. I think nowadays in Hollywood, the filmmaking, you can see, it's like made of glass, you know. But you see the form truly, and I saw the forms, and I saw the ugly faces, the repulsive stuff. And it was more than the seeing, was the feeling. You're perceptive, and you suffer physically. So as I told, it was like a big bus was rolling over me, backache, burning head, burning eyes, exploding ears. It was so terrible. It was so terrible. And that was very true. And it was not only once, it was several times. And then it was time that I went away to find Christ, because I think I would have died. So I will not tell any lie in the name of Christianity, of Christ. Yes, the hate forms, very, very. You saw that in the heavy metal, when you see the pocket of CDs of heavy metal, AC/DC, which means Antichrist, death to Christ, Judas Priest, all these groups, the ugly faces, like Kali, red eyes, big teeth coming out, blood drifting out of the mouth, and like that. And this presence, artists are sensitive. I think they depict it somehow. If you go to the Louvre, to big museums, you see sometimes Antonius, the first monk in the desert, was crushed by demons. They make paintings, and it is something like that. But it's not a fantasy. Okay. It was not a fantasy.